Chris Cobb, welcome.
Thank you so much, Legends, for having me.
No, our pleasure indeed. Hey, that's not a bad sort of outfit to be number 2 on the Australian Country Album charts, number 6 on the Australian Artist Album charts, number 8 on the Country Album charts with your album called More Questions Than Answers. That's pretty impressive. Well done, you.
Yeah, look, I humbly accept it. I'll take it and run, and at the same time, accept the fact that I'm a newbie in town. But look, hey, start off with a bang.
Well, newbie in town indeed, because one of the unique aspects, we looked at the ARIA charts last night, the ARIA Country Album, Australian Country Album charts. We've had 6 of the 20 now on our radio show, which we're pretty excited about, to be honest. And the one unique aspect of you is that you were born in Papua New Guinea.
Yes, very much indeed. Papua New Guinea is etched in me. However, 4 years ago, I took the family and we crossed over to this beautiful part of the world, and we decided to have a crack at music and all things life.
I have been to Papua New Guinea on 5 occasions and have spent my time in very regional towns called Port Moresby and Lae. You're from Bulolo. I wouldn't have thought that there is a thriving live music scene in the pubs around town. How do you kick off a career up there, or can you simply not, and that's why you had to relocate?
Yeah, look, very much so. Had to make the big move because there's not, in terms of live music activity, there's not much over there, and Australia it was the next closest place for me, and of course my dad's from Bundaberg, so it was the right move to cross over. Nonetheless, music is appreciated there. It's just that we have a lot of listeners, but there's not many performers getting out there and doing things.
Well, I think the other thing I know of Papua New Guinea, and clearly you're the expert, I'm just making it up as I go along, is that because it's so regional, it's not a case of, I'll just jump in a car and drive up to Sydney, or I'll whistle up to Wagga and do it. It's quite isolated in various, like you're in little pockets, aren't you?
Very much, yeah. Look, the land itself, the terrains are, roads are very, very difficult. So you either have to jump on a banana boat and go by sea, or get on a plane. And most of the times, there's not many big airports everywhere. So you're going to get on a small one-engine plane. That's apart from the major cities, which is probably only about 4 or 5. Nonetheless, one fun fact about that little town in Bulolo, where I come from, is that I just read in a little post this morning that it was the first part of Papua New Guinea, or the town of Papua New Guinea, to get receive bombs from the Japs on the 23rd of January 1942.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So
good morning. Here's that. Cop that. Bang. Yeah. Not much fun.
There you go. So that's the little town where I'm from, and I'm like, we don't celebrate war by any means, but if we do have to remember the ones that have fallen and paid the ultimate sacrifice, then this is something on my cards of that little town.
Yeah, nice.
Well, what sort of music influences do you remember hearing as a young fella, Chris?
Yeah, so I always put it down to 3 major parts. One is the ancestral chants from my grandfather. A lot of tribal chants with the traditional drum, which we called the kundu drum. The second part is my uncles. They like to sit around the fire, roast potato on the fire, and listen to the AM radio. And that's where I got a lot of the Australian classics that came through: Cold Chisels, the Midnight Oils, the Men at Works. So a lot of classic rock from Australia came through the radio. Apart from that, in the little town itself, where the countryside kicks in, it's a farm kind of setting, that little town, with a bit of timber and gold. So we had a fair amount of Australians that weren't shy to get on a horse and toil the land. So that's where the countryside of music kicks in. And eventually down the line, my mum met an Australian father who is my stepdad, and he really, really pumped in a lot of the golden Australian classics into my head as well. So I've got a fair, diverse influence, yeah.
So it would be something of a culture shock. So you've lobbed in Australia, you effectively starting off from scratch. How do you actually get a foothold in, being able to do some live gigs and stuff?
I think it really starts with having the right mindset, and I've always stepped in with my eyes wide open and my heart as well, just wanting to connect with people. And anytime I grab a guitar, I just make the most of it, in terms of connecting with either one person or 20 people. And the most practical thing I did was get down to the streets and did markets and busking and open mics. So I did that for about 12 to 18 months, and then I eventually transitioned from there to bigger corporate gigs and weddings, and here I am now with a debut album.
And how did that all happen to get the album released, Chris? How did you get the record deal, etc.?
Yeah, thanks. That came about when I went to Tamworth this year in January, and I rocked up to watch James Blundell at JB Hi-Fi. And from there, I met his manager, Robert Rigby from Ambitions Music. And Robert and I had a couple of chats. He then found out that I was a muso from me sending a little demo video of me on The Voice Australia. And, those things kind of really were great keys to opening those new doors. And Robert was impressed. We had a few meetings after that, and we said, let's drop an album. So the actual recording of the album was a very quick turnaround, where we had to do it within the span of 4 weeks, I think, yeah.
4 weeks. We've got some decent people helping you out on some of the tracks, Chris.
Yeah. Look, the legendary and iconic James Blundell, him and I share one particular or common denominator thing, and that's in growing up in Morobe in Papua New Guinea, where during the 80s he spent a few years of his time as a stockman at a station, and that was the very same province where I am from as well. So when I met James, I shook hands and, quizzed him about his time in PNG, and we both connected instantly. So it was only fitting for me to invite him on a songwriting session, which we're so pleased to complete and put in the album, and that song is called A Love Letter to Morobe.
Excellent. Now, James, just as an aside, just while I think of it, James is coming to Geelong in late November, and we will have him on our program here sometime during October. I spoke to James yesterday. He said name dropping, and he's going to come on the show. Yeah, friend of the show. Well, he will be after that. You've got to be on the show twice, Chris, before you're officially a friend of the show. Just there's your challenge. He's also going to be coming to Melbourne in early September. Our friends Patsy and Dave and James will be doing some stuff in Yarraville in September. So hopefully get to catch up with them then as well. So I'm the one thing I when I watch shows like Australia's Got Talent and The Voice and all those other shows, the thing that freaks me out is it's one thing to sing in front of people, but to know that you've got 5 million people watching you. I've got a young fellow with a guitar sitting around a campfire roasting potatoes, and 3 years later he's standing up on stage with 4 very, very well-known musical people and millions of people watching. That's a reasonable leap.
I don't know where they made that trampoline from, but it's...
But we want one.
Look, I think it's really fueled by, love and openness and understanding and the want to connect with people through music. And so when I went up on stage, I had to use those tools to fight the nervousness. And the most apparent thing that came into my mind was stage left to me was my 3-year-old daughter, as well as, my other kids and my wife. But the 3-year-old was very uneasy. She had spent a long day waiting, and she was crying. So all I wanted to do was just look at her and sing to her to try and bring some comfort. So that really got me through the first, 5 to 10 seconds. And after that, I saw the lights come on, and I lost myself in just a moment of magic. Yeah,
and it's one thing, I guess, there's a TV show, I don't know whether you call it Michael McIntyre's big show, where they surprise someone. They don't know they're going to be on stage, and so they walk out, bang, and 20 minutes later they're singing. Whereas I'm assuming that to get onto that stage in front of those 4 people and the millions of people watching you, you've had to apply, you've had to go through some form of audition. It would be a long, drawn-out process. I would have thought it would be like being on an aeroplane about to do your first ever skydive and being up there for 2.5 hours. You know, like I would be. This is a word I won't use on the radio because my grandchildren are listening. But I would be making an unfortunate mess if I was up there.
Yeah. Look, you nail on the head there. In terms of the preparations that were put into this whole show, I did a little calculation, and it took. It's about 97% preparation to 3% getting up on stage just for that 90 seconds. Because there were months of application and going through auditions and then getting shortlisted, and geez, the wait time is absolutely. I think a lot of people fall out because they simply don't have the patience and the discipline to get past the next steps and the next steps. Yeah.
Were you aware of what might happen post your performance, or were you just focused on just doing the best you could?
Without making it sound too much like a fairy tale, I felt really, really well prepared. Prior to getting on stage, I felt very confident in delivering the song in terms of all the technicalities. But everything changed when you're standing behind that sliding door.
Again, they've just opened the side of the plane, and you're hoping like crazy you got your parachute on.
Yeah. So it was a ping pong effect. There were good moments where you felt like, yeah, I'm good. I got this, and it was very short moments where you go like, oh, am I gonna muck up?
So what sort of advice did you get from the coaches that you worked with?
Get on the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. That was the number one piece of advice, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I missed the memo, so please, I have to catch up with you gents again. I can be sure to mention that.
Yeah.
Look, the best piece of advice is from all the coaches is to really hone into who you are as a person, and that'll translate through how you deliver a song or how you deliver yourself through music. A lot of stars nowadays, and also in the past, have found themselves undone because they try to be someone else.
Mm. You got to be true to yourself and the way you sing. And interesting, do you have any say in what song you sang, or what did they encourage you to do a song that people would know?
You get to choose the final song or the exact song that you have. There is a slight influence that comes in from the producers if they feel that it could be a little bit too much of a challenge for you, or if it's too comfortable for you. Nonetheless, you actually submit a whole list of songs that you want to do.
Well, you're looking at your current album, and there are some cover versions on there, but there's also been a chance for you to write songs for yourself. Is that where you want to head in the future, write all of the material that you record?
Absolutely, yeah. And I've kind of had to be a cover artist to get myself out there because there's something familiar with the public if you're unknown. But eventually, I would like to transition to being 100%, all my material, and be very picky with whatever cover song that I deliver or record. It has to have some significant meaning in my life.
Yeah, because I guess there are a lot of people out there who aspire but never get there in terms of, they're playing in a pub in Shepparton this afternoon and I'm not having a crack at them whatsoever. But if they stood up and said, hello, I'm Sally Brown and I'm going to sing some of my originals, people will get up and walk out. I suspect that if a chap called Paul McCartney stood up and said, I'm going to play one of my originals, people go, oh, okay, fair enough, that's pretty good, I'm happy with that. So it's, I guess, establishing yourself as an artist so that people go, oh, Chris Cobb, I know what I can expect.
Yeah, look, I think that was well put. We can always do an interpretation of someone else's work, but I think it's a full circle feeling when you get to share your original work, and it's up to the people to receive it, take it or leave it. But yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah. So this album, obviously being in the charts, means that you have obviously sold a few, which means that you've got something of a following. What happens next? I mean, clearly after this, you'll be inundated with offers after being on this show. But both people who are listening are probably going to ring you. What's the aspiration? Over the next 5 years.
Yeah, over the next 5 years, I really, really would like to share my music beyond Australia as well. And when I say share, not just on the social media airwaves or frequency, but to physically be abroad from Australia and connect with people around the world. I feel, and I've always lived by the principle where if you have something that is seen as a gift, then it needs to be shared, and shared to as many people as possible. And so with that said, over the next 5 years, I definitely want to be on foreign soil, connecting with people outside of Australia as well. But as for now, it's all about grounding and connecting with Australia because it's such a broad, big country as well and diverse as well. So I'd really like to spend the next 2-3 years around Australia.
Are you going to do some touring while you're looking around Australia, Chris? Is there a chance to see you live somewhere?
Absolutely. Look, we've got this album already out of the box, and I'd like to back it up with another album so that I have songs to choose from to make a playlist. And 2027 is when I'd like to get on the road. I'd probably be aiming for mid-year 2027.
Well, there's your opportunity to come back. Once you start touring and you're heading into Victoria, then you can come back and become an official friend of the Blokes.
Absolutely. So please prepare a seat for me.
Yeah, we'll do that. Now, and of course, in terms of international, I've got some contacts. It's not a big audience, but there's a place just north of Australia called Bulolo. I can get you in there to do a concert. It'd be round a fireplace, and people would probably be roasting potatoes while they're talking to you.
Oh, gee, I don't know about that. That's a tough gig. You're going to be on your best behavior to try and score me.
I reckon there'll be a few critics giving you some advice afterwards as well. Chris, this album, as Grant suggested, has got a combination of some of your own stuff and also some cover versions. The song we're going to play to say goodbye to you shortly is called Down Down, and I foolishly assumed that you're going to do some kind of Status Quo cover, but it's a different Down Down.
Yeah. It's look, beautiful experience down in Tamworth, and I try to capture the little story of that fun adventure to Tamworth 2025. And at the end of the whole festival, I ended up finishing a song called Down Down, and the chorus is very stemmed from a day where I was hungover many months before Tamworth, and I was just trying to come up with a gibberish nursery rhyme, and it didn't. It had a ring to it, but it didn't have too much meaning in it. So the real meaning or storyline that tied into that fun chorus was the journey in Tamworth. So we headed down to Ballina and eventually to Tamworth and spent time and watched everything over there transpire. So Down Down is, to me, my little Tamworth anthem.
Excellent. Well, it's got nothing to do with Status Quo then, quite clearly. You have, I've got a piece of paper in my hand here that Robert sent to me. You're quoted as saying, "This is only the beginning. I have more songs to write, more stories to share, and a lot more questions still to answer." Are we going to hear the answers in terms of songs or inside your head?
I'll leave that to you to pick.
I just noticed the title of the album, of course, is More Questions Than Answers.
Correct. Grant takes a little while to catch on, you understand, mate. It's he'll get there eventually. Yeah. Chris Cobb, what a great thrill it is to chat to you. Congratulations on the success so far of the album. People who want to get hold of that album should do as I am planning to do, and that is get on to Ambition Records, and you can find that at greatmusiclivesforever.com. If you get on there, not only can you see people like Chris, but you'll find people such as, there's some Russell Morris and James Blundell, sort of established people, and other up-and-comers like Sunday Lemonade we spoke to a couple of weeks ago. Their album, incidentally, is number one. I don't mean to bring that in this week. Sorry, Chris. But we spoke to them a couple of weeks ago. Robert is doing some really, really good things with both established and up-and-comers, and we would encourage you to go and get onto greatmusiclivesforever.com, because if you buy it through there, you're supporting Robert and these artists, not the big chain stores that might stock these albums. No, he's disappeared. Are you still there? Over.
Sorry. Yep. Okay. Got a bit of a lag here. Yes. Absolutely.
That's all right. I was just singing the praises of your mate Robert. He's a good fella, isn't he?
He is a good human, and that was one of the biggest draw cards for me to work with him.
Yep.
Is that we keep it as human as possible.
Well, I met him earlier this year, and he bought the coffees. So for me, buy me a coffee, I'm anybody's. It's as simple as that. Chris, we are going to go out with your song Down, Down. Thanks for joining us. Great music, livesforever.com and chriscobbmusic.com, I think. Is that right?
That is correct.
Excellent. Good on you, mate. We'll talk again, no doubt.
Thank you so much, Neil. Thanks, Grant, and pleasure.